Sawadika from Suvarnabhumi Airport. As you can see in the description, today is our very last day in Southeast Asia. We decided to move on. It kind of felt like it was time for us for a while. It's been over 3 years of us bopping around Southeast Asia and also East Asia, and we decided it was time to move west. Now initially we had planned to do an extended Middle Eastern series, but because of the current situation in Iran and Israel, that unfortunately kind of cancelled itself, and I think it's for the better. It's safer for us not to go. So today we're actually going all the way to Istanbul, and we will touch European soil for the first time in over 3 years. We're both excited, we're both sad. It's kind of a little bit of like an emotional turmoil type of a situation for us. But regardless, we're excited to see some parts of Europe again.
How beautiful is this statue, by the way, in Suvarnabhumi Airport? It's got this massive Naga, three-headed Naga statue. It's probably like a good 20 meters long. It's gorgeous. I'm excited to never see this outfit ever again, by the way. Oh, it's the future. It's the future. Oh, look at him. There's no quicker way to make yourself feel like an impoverished backpacker than coming to an international airport. I just got handed a voucher back there for 30% off of Chanel. Yeah, even with 30% off, we can't afford it. Don't even have to walk.
Walking's for povos.
Walking's for povos. You can't even afford it. Look at us. Look at the rest of these people walking. Right, so we just got to our gate and we're waiting for the gates to open, and right around now during travel days is usually when things start to get pretty stressful. So we start having thoughts of when we arrive in the next country, how are we going to manage things, how are we going to connect to data, how are we going to handle the transition into a new country and understanding how everything works. And that is where I'm going to introduce the sponsor of today's video, and that is Ole Fly. So I have it popped open here on my phone, and as simple as this, I can scroll through basically any corner of the world to the country where we're going to go to, and I can scroll right down and find we're heading to Turkey, and Turkey is right here on my screen. So it just makes the whole thing much smoother, the process much easier, and a lot less stress on travel days like this. Ole Fly is a travel eSIM that gives you instant data in over 200 destinations. No physical SIM card, no roaming fees. Just choose your destination, check out, and they email you a QR code. You scan it, install the eSIM, and you're good to go. Even before boarding your flight, this can all be done super quick and easy. Unlimited data in many countries, keep your WhatsApp number active, no need to search for SIM cards abroad, and the setup takes under 5 minutes. We used to land and then scramble to get online, especially in countries where the airport Wi-Fi is really slow, non-existent, or even scammy in some cases. With Ole Fly, we land connected literally every single time. So, if you've got a trip coming up, grab your Ole Fly eSIM before you board. It's fast, it works, and it means you're connected the second you land. Use our code 2MADEXPLORERS at checkout to get 5% off any eSIM or top-up, and the link is down in the description.
It's getting quite late and actually also really cold here because the ACs are all going like crazy. And now it's time for us to bored. My god, the nervousness is kind of starting to increase a little bit. Both of us are very excited, very happy, also tired, so it's kind of like that entire mix of emotions. We're on board, all cozy now and kind of ready to take off. Obviously we're sitting in economy, so for me it's just about right with the leg space for Luke. not so much. There's not even a finger space in between the knee and the seat in front of him.
10 hours of torture ahead.
That's alright though, I'm sure you'll be fine. And as of right now, the space between us, besides me, between us, because I am two people, I'm split personality now, that's what I identify as. The seat beside me is still empty, and I really hope that it's gonna stay empty, and then we can actually relax and kind of spread out a little bit. That would be fantastic, but the flight looks like it's pretty packed, and all of the now empty seats are kind of filling up slowly, so I don't know, I don't think that we're gonna be that lucky, but I hope we will.
Well, a good 10 hours later, very little sleep, and that brings an end to 3 years of travel in the continent of Asia. Pretty crazy to make that statement. Have a look here. My phone, just open Instagram. Everything. As soon as I landed, I just turned on and activated my Ole Fly eSIM, and it makes just everything completely seamless. We are literally over in the other side of the world from where we started this video in Bangkok. Now we're here in Turkey, just arrived in Istanbul, and I am fully connected, no issues whatsoever. So we still have to go through immigration, and then begins the struggle of trying to find our accommodation. Istanbul is known for being pretty scammy when it comes to taxi drivers, so we're going to have to do everything we can to avoid the taxi drivers. We've heard that there's a shuttle bus that can take us conveniently towards Taksim Square, which is exactly the area that we need to get to find our accommodation. So let's go and check out this immigration process and try and get ourselves a shuttle bus. Right, so we just found the ATM area, and there's about 5 or 6 different companies there. I'm not going to show because people are actually withdrawing money at the moment. We just took cash out ourselves. The bank that we used before the last time when we were in Turkey over 3 years ago now is called Halk Bank, and that's the one that we decided to go for as well. Really low commission rates, and it's really convenient here as well at Istanbul airport. We literally just came out just over there, and ATM is right over here, so you just literally turn right and you'll see the sign for the ATMs. And then also, if you do want to avoid getting a taxi scam or anything like that in Istanbul airport, this is where you need to go, the Hava Ist. So this is the shuttle bus that you can take, supposedly.
Now once you're on the transport floor, you need to look exactly where you want to go. In our case, this would be Express Taksim, and then you have to avoid all of the taxi drivers, of course, once you're here. We want to go express to Taksim with the shuttle bus. I do believe that you can actually not pay cash directly in the bus. I think we might have to buy some tickets beforehand somewhere, but we're not 100% sure. I need to check first. Just sent Luke to buy some tickets with the cash that we had gotten, but just to let you guys know, it actually says here that you can also pay with Visa and MasterCard and the credit card on the bus, or even through the mobile app, which we didn't know. We have cash now, so we're just gonna buy the bus ticket in cash. That's alright. And that's actually our bus, I think. Taksim. Right, to get from the airport all the way to Taksim Square itself, it's 275 TL or €6 per person, which is fine. We're happy with that. I think if we would have taken a taxi without getting scammed, it probably would have been around €50 or so, and then you probably get scammed on top of that.
35 to 50 upwards. So I've heard some people being charged like 60 to 100 plus, depending on your haggling skills. So you have to be really firm with them. But I think that this is a much more smoother and convenient way. It takes a little bit longer because there's a bit more traffic and stuff. There's also a metro that you can take, but for now we're going to use this and see how it goes.
Yeah, the host of our Airbnb, by the way, had also offered to organize a transport for us, and I think she said 45 euro for that. So this is 12 euro now for the two of us. So we're happy. We just want to kind of get there soon and then probably take a little bit of a nap and then get some really good Turkish food, because it's been a hot minute since we had Turkish food. I cannot wait. We have arrived at the bus station close to Taksim Square, and apparently from here it's only 500 meters on foot. However you say that in English, my brain is completely fried and we're both a little bit jet lagged and kind of overly tired, I feel like. Anyway, 500 meters in Istanbul doesn't mean anything, because you will for sure get lost at least twice on the way. We already got lost once, so we have that checked off of our list. And then there will for sure be a staircase or two that are so many stairs, so many steps, that you will question your existence afterwards, and all of that with a suitcase. Of course we could take a taxi, but we don't really want to risk it on the first day back on the European continent. We don't want to risk the brisket. Could also, of course, walk over there on the wider pedestrian path, on the wider sidewalk, but of course we don't do that, because why would we?
Well, everybody. We just roamed through the streets of Istanbul at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'll tell you what, you wouldn't think that it's such a big city, or that there's so many people in Istanbul at this time in the morning. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because there's other people that are staying close in this building. So we basically rented ourselves this little, it's like a studio apartment, I guess you could call it. And it's absolutely beautiful, I have to say. First impressions, big, beautiful white bed. And it's spotless clean too, and it's soft.
Not Asian mattress.
Yeah.
It's just sit down and your back is like.
Oh, that's nice and soft.
I'm gonna sleep like forever.
Incredible.
The next 10 years I will sleep.
Yeah, there is nobody. So Istanbul literally feels like a ghost town at this time in the morning. I think what happens in Istanbul, especially now because it's June, gets really, really hot during the day, so people probably don't go out until late in the evening time, and then they stay out late, and everything opens late as well, so people just sleep in. But I have to say, the streets around here, have a look at this beautiful view here. We are in Beyoğlu, is the district or the area that we're staying in. Proper touristy area. But we wanted to stay central because we want to really go deep and explore all over Istanbul, and we figured that this would be a good base. And yeah, this place is actually very nice. For the money that we're paying, believe it or not, here in Istanbul, this place works out to be about 27 euro per night. So for Istanbul, that's an absolute bargain in the location. We're right around the corner from Taksim Square.
We have a freshly renovated bathroom here as well. It actually still smells like renovation in here. So it's super freshly renovated. It's very clean, beautiful around here as well. And yeah, if you're coming to Istanbul to have like a chill week or weekend or whatever, and you're not necessarily looking to be super central, then the Asian side is definitely a recommendation. We actually prefer the Asian side a little bit over to the European side, because the European side is usually like very hustly, very bustly, lots of tourists, like all of the big loud streets and so on. It's kind of all on this side, and then on the other side you have like cool coffee culture and so on. You also have cool coffee culture here, of course, but you might have to negotiate for the right prices for your coffee and for your vegetables. So yeah.
Yes! So we just had ourselves a good lengthy 4.5 hour nap. Both of us just got into that soft bed and passed the hell out, and we're feeling very much refreshed now. And welcome to the busy streets of Istanbul. Now, like we said, we're on the European side, so this is an interesting contrast to where we've spent the last 3.5 years of our life. We dedicated over 3 years to explore Southeast Asia and Asia in general. We spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia and a good amount of time in East Asia as well. And South Asia. We were also all over Sri Lanka, all over India. We spent a good 3 months traveling through India, as a lot of you guys will know. So this is very much, oh my god, sorry, look at this cat.
Oh, he's a big boy. Mr. Big Boy.
That's something that you're gonna see everywhere in Istanbul. Istanbul is the cat city. So if you're not a big fan of cats, you're gonna be out of luck here in Istanbul, I'll tell you that much. I suppose we want to touch on a couple reasons why we came back this way towards Europe. There's a lot of reasons, and I think we'll get into them throughout this video. But it's nice to be back here, and I think Istanbul is a fantastic sort of a transition. It's a nice city to come to ease our way back into the European way of life after spending 3 years in Asia, because this is a city that sits on an intersection of the Bosphorus River. So the Bosphorus dissects Istanbul, and you do have a European side and an Asian side, as most of you will know. And we're currently making our way now to the Bosphorus so we can get a glance over at Asia, which we just left.
Look at the view.
Have a look at this for a view.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And might I add, we've just been walking now for like a solid 45 minutes. Neither of us are sweating, so it's a lot
so dry.
drier. We just came from Bangkok, and if we had done that in Bangkok, both of us would be soaked through with sweat. That's not the case here. Oh man, it feels so good to be back here. Right at the beginning as well of European summer. It's very much an emotional return for both of us. Naomi has quite literally been crying on and off.
I've been crying this entire time, on the plane, on the bus, in the bathroom, on the street, in the supermarket. I'm crying everywhere.
It hasn't fully, I think, hit me yet, but I think when it does, I'm going to lose my mind as well, because it's been a long time. It feels like we've dedicated a huge portion of our journey so far to Asia, and now all of a sudden we're back here. So let's head down and see this beautiful Bosphorus.
This entire area here, by the way, is relatively new. The last time we were here, this was still all under construction. I mean, of course, there was a ferry terminal here. You could still do the tour to the Princess Islands, Kadıköy, and like the Bosphorus cruise or whatever it's called. But before, it was kind of just like that, like stationed on the side, sort of, and it wasn't really a big operation like this or a big building like this before. And this entire area here, this dam looking type of building, was also not here. I'm not sure if we can actually walk up here or if we have to walk around. Not entirely sure, but we would like to go up to have a look at the Asian side and at the Bosphorus. Really hope that you guys can hear me with all of the wind going on, but we're currently walking up to the new structure. It kind of looks like the main part where the ferries and the boats are departing from didn't actually change so much. It just looks maybe a little bit modernized, and then everything around it here, this is all new. Currently also a call to prayer. This makes the timing perfect for being here. And we're looking at the Asian continent, which is fun. We walked a little bit on the Bosphorus river down to find a place where we can actually sit down and relax for a little bit. Check this out. Oh, over there is also a ferry that just arrived. It looks like you can also get in and out of the ferry over here. That's so cool. People are just relaxing here. This is called the Barbarossa Square.
We're in the Besiktas. Besiktas is the name of this area, so we're actually not in Beyoğlu anymore. We walked all the way to Besiktas, and this is incredible to be able to be on the water level of the Bosphorus. We were just on a viewpoint, as you guys saw, looking over it. Being here at water level, face to face with all of these ferries, and face to face with a river as mighty as the Bosphorus, this is very special. It's beautiful.
It's very strange as well to us to actually be able to walk that much down the river, because obviously in a lot of Southeast Asia, I mean, it's still walkable, but like not really walkable, if you know what I mean. So we basically just walked for like probably, I don't know, like 4 or 5 kilometers without having to stop once, no traffic lights, no nothing, just kind of like on the sidewalk. And that was really, really nice. And we also got ourselves some olives and some pastries as well, just to kind of try our first European Turkish food directly on the Bosphorus.
So we went and got ourselves some amazing olives. We got literally 300 grams of olives, about 250 grams of olives for literally €1. You cannot get that in anywhere really in Asia. We've tried before to get like olives and cheese and charcuterie type stuff, because every now and then while we were traveling around Asia, we would get like these big cravings for like cold cut meat and nice cheese and olives and stuff like that. And now being back in the Mediterranean, all of that stuff is very widely available, and we are absolutely over the moon about it. We're going to be stuffing our faces with olives.
It's been a really long time since we last had proper olives and didn't spend like €20 for 100 gram.
Oh my!
Are they good?
God.
We didn't try at the supermarket. Usually you can also try all of the olives before buying them. We just pointed at something and I was like, give me this.
Unbelievable.
Wow. They are amazing. Just the taste of, oh my god, sorry. It nearly tastes like pizza to me. Because there's some oregano in it.
There's
and
red
some
pepper.
Some peppers, some tomatoes from the looks of it. And the olives itself are also a little bit barbecued.
Wow. Heaven on earth. I can't get over this view here, guys. You can see the water here just rippling up against the shore, all the boats passing by, and we're getting a good decent final look here across the Bosphorus at Asia too. Maybe one more then.
Trying not to get everything oily.
Oh my god, unbelievable. They're grilled as well. You can actually see like the grill marks on the olives. Heaven. Salty, beautiful flavor. And we got
these. I don't know what they are. I think they might be burek.
This baked goods in this part of the world, like nowhere else. So this looks to be like maybe a spinach type of a burek pastry. We went to a firin, which translates basically to bakery. How good is that? This guy here is bathing himself in the Bosphorus. So
I think he's cleaning himself. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I think it should be a burek with spinach and then some cheese on the inside with some poppy seeds on the top, beautifully toasted.
Look at that. That is unbelievable.
It's so good.
Looks like some spinach, maybe some wine leaves. Beautiful, light, flaky, unbelievable. Very, very cheap and affordable as well. A lot of people told us when we make our way back to Europe that you're gonna get sticker shock, and I think we definitely will the further west that we go. As for here in Istanbul, I have to say, comparatively to a city like Bangkok, for example, yeah, here and there, the street food in Bangkok is quite a bit cheaper, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a sticker shock actually. It has gone up a little bit in price for some things, but not overwhelmingly. So that's one positive as well that goes in this direction. We really want to touch on kind of the whole point of this video here today as well, and that is, why did we decide to leave Asia? Because to be honest, we went to Asia with the idea that we were going to live there. So
that was the plan.
We went
so long.
We went there with the idea that we're looking for a new home because we fell out of love with Europe back in 2021. So we were like, we need to get out of Europe, and we're gonna go to Asia because that seemed to be where all the YouTubers were and where all the expats were going to. And still that's the case. This is one of the reasons why we decided to come back to Europe, because it just seems like every single vlogger, every travel vlogger, everybody just goes to Asia and then sticks with Asia and stays there because it's an audience, and it is an audience base that always works for the most part. So if you go to countries like India, if you go to Sri Lanka, you go to China, Thailand, all of these places, the audiences are always very engaged because when a Westerner goes and visits those countries, they want to hear the opinions a lot of times. Places like the Philippines and stuff like that, a lot of the audience, they want to genuinely hear the opinions. And that causes a lot of times content creators to go there and just create videos that are kind of like copy and paste videos, travel videos, where every video is like, oh my god, I'm so shocked at how this place looks or whatever. I think it just kind of got boring to us. Europe has so much history, it has so much stuff going on, and it gets completely ignored by a huge amount of content creators nowadays. So it's one of the reasons is we wanted to come back and try and sort of reignite our love and passion and connection with this part of the world, and it's where we come from as well.
And to be honest, we're also not entirely innocent when it comes to that. We have been part of those types of creators as well for the past 3 years, so it's not like we're pointing fingers at other people. We're more like also self-reflecting about what we have been doing, and I think we have been doing that for a very, very long time, and we also kind of realized that everybody is always giving out about Europe. Europe here, Europe there, everything is falling apart, everything is so horrible. But nobody actually, like looking at our generation, nobody tries to change anything. We're all just complaining. Our generation and younger, and of course also the boomers and so on, they're also complaining, but they're their own breed. But we can actually change something. But nobody tries to change something, and we feel like we have also been part and guilty of that we're just like, okay, we are leaving Europe, we are just leaving, we cannot change anything, no matter what we do, it will not change, and just kind of that mindset of like everything is horrible all of the time. And we kind of, after a few years of traveling, we were starting to become aware of that, and we want to actually go back and change things for the better, and do something to change the culture, to build something that is desirable, to build a future for our non-existent children, or the neighbor's children, or whoever.
We want to share videos that showcase the beauty, that showcase the history, the heritage, everything about one of the most, I think actually probably one of the most important places in the world in terms of history. It's where we come from, it's where so many millions of people come from. The sort of the building point of Western civilization is Europe and North America. So we have a lot of very interesting videos coming your way, focusing on the history, focusing on a lot of different sort of hot topics that are taking place at the moment in Europe concerning a lot of different things. There's a lot of issues that are happening in Europe, and we're going to be trying to dive into some of those issues because they've been happening now for quite some time, and we feel like there is some people that are covering them, but not to the extent that Asia is being talked about. So we feel like there's something lacking when it comes to content creators in this part of the world.
I think it's also this whole mindset of we as Western cultures always kind of feel like we are less than, like it's not as interesting, it's not as different, it's not as special or whatever. A lot of people, especially in our generation, and I'm counting myself in here, I always felt a little bit like, oh, my culture is less than, like not undesirable or whatever. And I feel like we really need to put in the effort and put in the work and actually try and understand our own culture and our own traditions and highlight the good parts and the bad parts, maybe, I don't know. I just feel like somebody needs to start talking about it, and there's just not enough content out there about these types of things. So, you know, like a lot of times people go to Asia, a lot of content creators go to Asia and just go there in order to, like, obviously it's different, the food is interesting, everything is very affordable, you can make your buck work a lot longer for yourself, but nobody ever talks about, for example, how our bodies are not made for Asian food long term, if you know what I mean. Like, can you imagine, like, if you're an Asian person watching this, can you imagine you go abroad and then you don't get Asian food, you don't get rice for the next 3 years, or if you do want to eat something Asian, it's gonna be extremely expensive and actually like not at all what you're looking for or what your body needs. That's kind of a little bit what we've been feeling like. Yes, for example, Thai street food is super tasty. It's one of my favorite foods in the world, and it's very, very affordable. You might be able to get it for like 40 baht or 80 baht, like €1, €2 or something like that. But after a while, your body doesn't want that anymore. You just get tired of it. Your body feels fatigued all of the time, just eating rice continuously, and this is like complaining on a super, super high level. I don't know, after 3 years in Asia, I just feel sick, like actually physically sick. When I open another rice dish, for example, my body is just like, I don't want that. That's not what I want. What my body needs is potatoes and sourdough bread, because I'm a German, like half German, half Italian or whatever. I think the ferry is leaving over there or arriving, one or the other. And nobody talks about that. Yes, you can make your buck work for a very, very long time, but is it healthy for you? Like, did your ancestors eat that way? Are you supposed to be eating that way? Is that making you healthy and happy long term as a European? The answer is unfortunately no. And that's another reason as to why we decided to not stay in Asia, unfortunately.
We want to show you as well the real sort of boots on the ground, how Europe is as well, because there's a lot of news, and news always tends to be incredibly negative. So you'll constantly hear news about mass migration, about skyrocketing rental prices, about a lot of different social issues that are happening in Europe. And that's a huge reason why so many people in our age group, both of us are in our early 30s, so many people in our age group and younger are running away from Europe and have been now for quite some time. So we want to talk about those things. We want to dive in deeper into those topics and give you our sort of perspective on it after being away from Europe for such a long time. So we left Europe 3.5 years ago, and we haven't been back since then. So we have no idea what's in front of us right now. We're going to dive head first, face first, into something that we're quite literally not used to anymore. So we're hoping that that's going to make for some interesting content and something that will hopefully resonate with a lot of you guys watching, and hopefully we'll be able to show you an aspect of our life and of where our families come from and where food, interesting history about the food from Europe, a lot of the culture from Europe. There's so much stuff that we haven't really touched upon and we haven't really dived into. So I am very effing excited about the future of this channel, because there's a lot of stuff coming your way where we're going to be diving deep into some very fascinating places. In terms of Turkey, our goal for Turkey, we're going to be here in Turkey first. We're going to show you some places that are very, very rarely touched by Westerners, and then we're going to be branching out all over Europe for the next while. Consider it like good while. And yeah, there's a lot of places we want to go to that just don't get touched by vloggers because they're too busy sharing their shocking first impressions of the next fucking place that's in Asia that everyone else has gone to 100 times.
I really hope that we're gonna call this video shocking first impressions of Istanbul or something. No? Okay, maybe the last reason as to why we left Asia, just to kind of round that sort of perspective off, is we have been talking to a lot of expats, even like, for example, in Sri Lanka we have some friends that have been living there in Sri Lanka for 12, 13, 14 years, married to a Sri Lankan with 2 kids, and after all of that time within the country, they speak the language, they speak Sinhala, they're still considered foreigners. And that's kind of like a sad realization that you start to see after a while of being in Asia. Regardless of where you go, you will never integrate 100%. You will never be one-off. You will never be...
Holy crap.
A big wave.
The waves are getting hardcore. It's because there's a boat passing by here. We're getting splashed. These boys are getting splashed too.
Yeah, you will. What I'm talking about is you will never be considered one-off. So even after like 12 years, for example, of living in the country, that one specific man that I'm talking about in Sri Lanka, for example, he was still getting the tourist prices. The people would not accept him as one-off, and he speaks Sinhala.
He speaks fluent Sinhalese, so like he speaks Sri Lankan to all of the locals, but they still don't care. They still see him as a white man, so they charge him white man prices. So what can you do about that situation?
I mean, and that's also not an accusation or anything. It's just a harsh reality. When you set out to start and travel to other places where people are so entirely different to who you are or what your norms are, the way you look, whatever it might be, you think, oh yeah, I'm gonna integrate, it's gonna be fine, I'm gonna be accepted as one-off. The harsh reality is, no, you won't, and you never will, regardless of where you go in Asia, as a German or an Irish or an English or whatever you are, you will never be one-off.
Even for me as an Irishman, like going to different places in Europe, it's the same. Like, I'm not saying that everywhere in Europe is accepting of other Europeans either, but it's a lot more likely that you're going to feel more of a connection for us. It's the same goes for you guys that are watching. If you're from Asia or you're from the US or you're from wherever, chances are you're going to feel more deeply connected actually with the place where your family comes from. You're going to feel more connected to the food and the culture and the history and a lot of the other things. I feel like nowadays it's been so normalized that people just run away from where they're from in search of something better. The grass is always greener on the other side is a popular saying in English. And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times you go to those other places. Like we spent, like I said so many times in this video, we spent nearly 4 years trying to look for a place that would feel like home to us. And unfortunately it just doesn't. And we're still on the search for that. But I think that we're already feeling mentally better just being here.
Just being in Turkey. I mean, Turkey is not our home place, but the culture is a lot more similar and people are a lot more similar to what we're used to. And also traveling Asia for a while, or just traveling in general, also like it's also Mexico and wherever else that we traveled, it's not only Asia. For the first few months of being in a place, you're always wearing these kind of like pink shaded love hard glasses, basically. I don't know if that's a thing to say in English, where you just like you romanticize everything. You're thinking everything is amazing, everything is interesting, everything is great, but you block out kind of like all of the things that you might not necessarily agree with, just because you really want to find something positive and you want to find the thing.
It's like when you just get into it's like a honeymoon phase. So like when you just get into a brand new relationship and you think, oh wow, this is the best person I've ever met, and then maybe maybe after 2-3 years you realize not so much. So that's kind of how it feels a little bit. We still absolutely adore Asia. Like,
we love Asia.
I love Thailand with all my heart. I love Sri Lanka. I love Indonesia. I love so many countries that we've traveled to. The Philippines,
Cambodia.
So many places. China even. Like everywhere that we have actually experienced, we have developed quite a deep connection with those places, but it's not on the level where we want to say that we want to actually base ourselves out of.
And I do feel like we left little bits and pieces of our soul and of our hearts in all of the places that we visited so many times. But it is a harsh realization, and you just have to face reality that, like, you cannot integrate. You can build a life, but you will forever be the foreigner regardless of where you go, unless it's a culture that is, you know, somewhat similar to your own. And it's sad to say that, and I'm sure a lot of people won't be of the same opinion, but it's just what it is.
Yeah, we're speaking from experience. We've been traveling full time now for over 4 years. We have not stopped. We have not been one of these people that just pretends that we're traveling full time, where we actually have a home base. We don't go home every couple months to relax or whatever like most YouTubers do. We have been on the road for 4 years, and we're speaking as honestly as we can. And this is just how we feel. But there's a lot of exciting videos coming your way. This is only the beginning of a massive Europe series where we go a deep dive into one of the most beautiful places in the world.
We're excited. I don't know, I'm so emotional. It's kind of like the end of, I don't know, I don't want to cry. I'm crying again. It's kind of like the end of an era for us, the end of a big thing that we always wanted our entire life, and now it's not what we thought it was, and that's okay. Like, Asia doesn't have to fit our expectations or whatever. Asia doesn't have to bend to what we think it should be, or have to accept us though, or whatever it is. Asia does accept us. Like, don't understand this wrong either. It's just, I don't know.
You're explaining yourself too much.
I'm explaining myself too much.
You're being too nice.
It is very,
Didn't
very.
accept us, and that's it. And now we're in a different part of the world.
It's emotional though.
Yeah.
It's a big step for us, and it's a big realization. That's okay though. And now let's go and have some Turkish food somewhere.